Good evening, everyone. Welcome to LFC Transfer Room. Yes, J Muse, we're still coming on. We're on now. We had a bit of a technical problem, but it's all solved now. Only got us 11 minutes to fix, so it's all good. Uh, Thank you all for hopping on there. That's it. See, already fixed. Okay, so yeah, thank you all for hopping on. Thanks Tosin for coming in. I'm here tonight joined by Tosin to discuss the match tomorrow, basically against Madrid at Anfield. It's only going to be the two of us, so if the chat feels like leaving their thoughts as well, we'd love to have them and talk about them. Obviously, yes, we will obviously touch on the contract renewal stuff. Maybe with with Mo talked about in his last let's call it interview, like outside of the stadium after the match against Southampton. We're obviously going to touch on that. Big match indeed, but until tomorrow. Joseph, how's your evening, mate?
Yeah, it's going quite interesting. Currently, try to catch up on my team playing in the CAF Champions League and preparing for tomorrow's game. So I need to win two games: win tonight and then win tomorrow night, and have a lot of flights to catch too.
Was the team you're supporting?
No, oh, okay. The team I work for in Africa work with two teams actually in Africa. I am under contract to not mention the second one, but I can mention the first one, Orlando Pirates. So yeah,
South Africa, right?
and we're currently winning away in Algeria, 2 goals to nothing. So win tonight in Algeria, win tomorrow against Real Madrid, against two boogie teams. Perfect week.
Perfect week indeed. Let's hope for that, and hopefully the same scoreline by tomorrow as well. So we wouldn't mind it too much. So that's pretty much we're obviously going to talk about the game against Madrid. We're going to touch a bit on the weekend and obviously have our thoughts on what's going to happen on Sunday, because obviously we're going to have a game tomorrow, but then I'm guessing you'll need to manage the team because the game on Sunday is arguably more important than the one tomorrow. But obviously, it all depends on how everyone views it. If we're gonna ask Slot, he's probably just gonna say he's gonna play his best team on every single fixture. So yeah, but well, it's we do have John. We do have some youngsters ripping it on loan. Well, maybe not necessarily so many, but we have a lot of young talent still on loan, and that's obviously something we're going to look up to next season. Obviously, me personally, I can't wait to see Bajcetic back. I thought we were going to keep him this season, but maybe he's going to get a bit more game time away on loan. So, with that in mind, please make sure to like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and obviously, as Muse said, pitch in if you have any sort of comments you want to leave or things you want to discuss, obviously. So, uh, Reds are now 8 point ahead in the Premier League, ahead of a huge week now, playing Madrid, obviously, tomorrow in the Champions League and playing City on Sunday in the Prem. Things are looking great. Probably, I don't think any of us would have predicted that in late November we'd see Liverpool, with maximum number of points in the Champions League, being top of the table in the Champions League, being top of the table in the Prem with 8 points ahead of Man City. So, Tosin, your thoughts on the game against Southampton, on the performance? Not necessarily encouraging defensively, considering we're going to play Madrid tomorrow, is it?
Yeah, I thought the game we didn't play a clean game. You could see it from Slot's mannerisms during the game, and I think it was just a huge sigh of relief that we were able to get away with the 3 points. We stole 3 points in that game. I thought they were defensively, we looked as shaky as we'd been, all season. Going forward, we we created a lot of chances, but we just could not put them away. And for some reason, the only person that seemed to be bringing a lot of energy in midfield was Ryan. There was a bit of a tardiness from Curtis, which I had not seen since the start of the season. And maybe it was just me, but I thought we were a bit too slow. and we gave up a lot of big plays. You look at the counter attack for the second goal from Southampton. You look at the fake penalty that did not exist, that was conjured by Simon Barrott and his team of referees. So, I mean, you look at all of that, and we were we I thought we did not need to leave second gear to win that game, which obviously we did not have to leave. But most importantly, I was just a bit concerned that even in being in second gear, there's a bit of confidence and there's a bit of calm, there's a bit of aura that you play with. We didn't have that. Robo was the Robo that we saw earlier in the season. A bit of a concern from him there. Gave away the fake penalty. Again, I will continue to call it a fake penalty for anyone who cares to know. You also look at outside of the fake penalty that he gave away, seemed to find it difficult against Tyler Dibbling, which I found ridiculous. I mean, that guy no respect to Tyler Dibbling, but come on now, we're talking Andy Robertson here, captain of the Scottish national team. So, I mean, you look at that, and you also sort of look at Connor. I thought maybe that we maybe should have played Joe Gomez at the right back. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it would have given us a bit of confidence more. Connor made a couple of mistakes, maybe because he's not played a lot of games, but I thought maybe Joe, but I also understand why you play Connor there because Connor is more of a natural right back and he gives a bit of a Trentish feel, maybe especially going forward and giving what he can do there. But outside of that, a misplaced pass here, a misplaced pass there. We created a lot of chances. Darwin could have had a couple. He was who he was. So you look at all those things, and I just kind of felt, in summary, for me, I'm just happy we got away with the 3 points because you know what the narrative would be if we didn't win that game and then we went on to play City.
Yeah, obviously, I think we kind of needed that win ahead of this week, mainly in terms of confidence. Now, probably not even that important if we won a 3-0 or 3-2. At the end of the day, we got 3 points. That's what matters. Indeed, the performance was a bit off, I'd say, as well. And I feel like people are, calling out Robertson, and for good, for good reason. Like his performances were obviously under par for a while now, but it's good that you mentioned Bradley because I feel like a few weeks back I've actually mentioned that I feel like Bradley is not having his like a great season. Last season I thought he was great. Obviously, filled us with confidence when Trent was gone to the point where we were thinking if he should keep on playing as our first choice right back, even after Trent came back. But obviously this season I think he's been uh, uh, shaky, let's say, in lots of games. And with that in mind, uh, this is a reason. This is a question that I've seen asked for a few times, mused, in over the past few days. Obviously, with Madrid, with Vinicius being injured, Madrid are probably going to play Mbappe as their left wing, and so playing Bradley there would be very risky indeed, I would say. So I think Gomez, especially after what we've seen at the weekend, I think Gomez just is the correct choice in this matter. Uh, with Madrid, Tosin, I've taken the liberty to look at their team and their injuries ahead of tomorrow's game, and from what I can see, you have Alaba, Carvajal, Militao, Rodrigo, and Vinicius all injured. Now, considering what we've been through in the last few years against Madrid, considering the 2018 Champions League final, the 2020 games against them where we remember playing Kabak and Phillips as our center back pairing, after the 2022 final, after last season, was it in the Champions League or 2 years ago? And I don't even remember now.
Mhm.
Sorry, last
Two
season
years ago,
in the Champions
22,
League.
23.
Yeah, yeah. It was basically we're 2-0 up at Anfield and then we fucked it up and lost 5-2 somehow. Uh, after all of these encounters, is tomorrow with Liverpool's form and with Madrid's injuries, has the time finally come for us to slap them?
Mihai, let me be honest. My answer should be yes. But I've never been more shit scared of a game than I am of tomorrow's game. I honestly speaking, I mean, I was speaking to someone at the office yesterday, and he was saying, "Oh, but your team is gonna win on Wednesday." I said, "Come on now, guys, come on. I mean, let's be real here. Let's focus on." I think it's gonna be very difficult. I want it to be tomorrow, but it's gonna be difficult. We're talking Real Madrid here. I mean, this and Carlo Ancelotti's on the other sideline. I mean, for everything we did in 2005. I mean, that man holds a grudge against us. He remembers that night. That's a dream he'll never forget. It's a nightmare he'll never forget. So he takes extra time to prepare for Liverpool. But that said, I mean, we should win the game on paper, but it's not played on paper. It also sort of means that we will see something different from Madrid. The fact that Vinicius does not play makes me a bit more comfortable, but we also have to be very careful because of Kylian Mbappe. We know he's looking for a breakout game, a game that makes him feel I should be here. That cannot be against us because also you know everything about the old. We could have signed him, we didn't, and all of those conversations. So because of that, he obviously has that game circled on his calendar and is saying, "This is the game I want to play well in." You also know with Jude Bellingham should have signed for us. So that's two players who we could have signed that are playing tomorrow, and they're playing against us at Anfield. So it's not going to be easy against Madrid. I mean, it would be convenient for me to say we're going to kill them, we're going to beat them 4-0. But if we're going off the back of what I just saw, and I'm not saying we're going to play the same way we played against Southampton, but if we're going off what I just saw against Southampton, I'll be a bit cautious. It's Real Madrid. Um, they've given us a lot of PTSD in times past. So I'll just calm down and wait for what we're going to do tomorrow. I believe with Arna in charge, we could get a win. And I'll be honest with you, Mihai. I think this is a game we either win 4-0 or we draw or we lose. If we're going to win tomorrow, we're not winning 1-0, we're not winning 2-0. No, it's 4. Because once we score one, another one goes in, another one goes in, another one goes in. But if we don't win that big with a big margin of victory, I also want to say this: fuck the FA, because they make us play Wednesday against Madrid and then we play Manchester City on Sunday. Meanwhile, City play at home against Feyenoord today. I don't understand why they've done it like that, but that said, I think most imperatively, I I would expect us to win, but I'm not so confident that we're going to win 100%.
Yeah, I think that's completely understandable, especially when thinking about the last few years and the whole other matches that I've just mentioned. I feel like with Madrid, there's you always have that in mind. They just have their voodoo, whatever you want to call it, in the Champions League, where they switch on for 15 minutes and they score 2 3 goals out of nowhere. So yeah, it's understandable. For me, it's pretty much the same thing. Like I especially after what's happened in the last few years, I can't wait to see us actually win a game against Madrid and slap them if that helps. Like get them 3 4 goals, as he said. But it's Madrid. You're never gonna go into the game saying that. Yeah, we're just gonna. I know we're gonna slap them. It just doesn't work that way with them. Even if they had like. Even if they were playing the kids tomorrow, I'd still be cautious against Madrid in the Champions League. So that's just the way it is. Um, though at least I feel like this is obviously probably the best chance that we've had in years against them, with the injuries that they have and with the form that we're in as well. So we're gonna see. Obviously, for us, I think it's also the thing that we're top of the table in the Champions League as well, with the maximum number of points. For us, a draw isn't even like a bad result tomorrow. I feel like a draw wouldn't necessarily, impede our chances of progressing in any way. I feel like with the form that we've been in, we're pretty much guaranteed to be top 8 now. Hard to believe we're going to drop out of there, but obviously anything can happen. That's why I'm just saying that I feel like a draw tomorrow isn't like a really bad result or a horrendous result. I just feel like you really want to win just because of what happened in the last few years. Like that's the thing that kind of motivates us now. But obviously, yeah, you can't really think about it like that, I suppose. So yeah, well, we've talked about Robo, we've talked about Gomez or Bradley. What I would like to ask you, yeah, obviously this was something that I was going to touch on. Trent is back in training. Um, well, we're gonna have to see obviously for Sunday. The thing that I wanted to ask you is is Robo now going to be a weak link for tomorrow? Because we've seen at the weekend, it feels like, even if they don't have Rodrigo, I'm just gonna actually take a quick look on who they played the last time they were in the league. So they won at Leganes, and they've played Arda Güler on the right wing. Uh, wouldn't say like he's necessarily an established name, but it with Robo, it just feels like he's been under par this season, as we've discussed. So, um, with this in mind, give me a starting 11 for tomorrow. Who would you play? And the setup basically, because you're gonna have to think maybe to have a left center midfielder to kind of, or maybe obviously one of the DMs to pay extra attention to Robo side, maybe.
Honestly speaking, I've, regardless of how poor Robo's been, I think you just got to stick with him and let him ride through it. Because right now I would have said Costa, but Costa's injured now, and that in itself, I mean, I would be honest. I saw the news, headache. My head was smoking because I thought, come on now, this guy is done well when he's called upon this season. So I think I'll still go Quivi in goal, go Robo at left back, then centre back, obviously the two guys, regular suspects, and Jay Muse. That's why we say Joe Gomez has to start tomorrow, because because that's going to be crazy. I'd go Joe Gomez at right back. Um, and I want to say this as well, that there have been times where I've thought maybe we have to play a back three, but you know, maybe and just maybe because Arda is still trying to see what goes on with the team. There are moments I've thought, let's play a back three and let's play wing backs. We have the personnel who can play that. Maybe that also helps the shortcomings of Robo a bit. If you play back three, that means you play Joe, play Virgil and Konate together. But then the problem with playing a back three is the only person that can come off the bench right now is Jaro. So, and you don't want to risk that. So maybe you play a back four and then you play Joe at right back, and then you play Virgil, Konate, and Robo in the back four. Then in midfield, I will go for Maka, Ryan, and shockingly, I thought Zoboslai had his best game in this season for us on Sunday. So I think play Zobo there, play Dom there. Let's see whether he can carry it on. A part of me also wants to go Curtis, but since he's just had his best game, let's see whether he can keep up this kind of performance. And mind you, because Real Madrid have some technicians in midfield, maybe he goes with the same midfield that played against Leganes, where he played Ceballos, Camavinga, and Jude. If he goes with that same midfield, maybe then you can put you can play Curtis Jones if he goes with that same midfield. But if he changes and uh, puts Modric there, then I'll go Dominic Zoboslai. If he goes with and we know Madrid will release the lineup 2 hours before kickoff. So if I'm slot, I'll I'll have a lineup in mind, and then when I see that Madrid lineup, I'll say, okay, you know what, let's quickly change it. Sorry guys, let's change it. So, um, it depends. If it's Modric, then I'd say go with Dom. If it is Ceballos, he plays there, then 100%, I'll go with with Curtis. Then up front, you got to go with Luis Diaz. He annoyed me when he came off the bench because he made some really frustrating decisions. But I thought also it was quite exciting. I know a lot of people who say that Cody should keep starting, but I'd give Luis Diaz an opportunity. You play Darwin and then you play Mo. Obviously, the injuries, man, the fucking injuries, and that's why I find it interesting when people are saying we don't have injuries because I mean, we've been having to play without Federico Chiesa and Diogo Jota for how long? We've not been able to make some adjustments. And Avi's back. Can't wait to see the young lad in the team. But I think this lineup, Bosla, should be able to give us a 4-0 win against Madrid. 15 points. Although I'll be honest, when I was counting our points in the Champions League, when the draw was made, I did not count the 3 points against Madrid. I said, hey, we're going to get 21 of 24 because I felt, okay, we could lose this game. But it looks we're going to win it now.
Oh, can only hope so. Like you were a lot more optimistic than I was. I thought we had a really really difficult draw, and I saw it at the beginning. But obviously, yeah, as I said in the beginning of the stream, I didn't think we'd get here after in late November to be in this position in the Prem and in the Champions League as well. So, um, yeah. Um, well, for me, I'm thinking, as you mentioned, obviously on injuries, yeah, it's like Arsenal had an injury crisis with like three players missing, and that was like all of the press just went mad. But when you have like 4 or 5 injuries, it's just like it's nothing. No one even mentions that.
Mm-hmm.
We did discuss this, obviously. I think a few minutes later, some later, earlier. Sorry. I did say that with the position that we're in, a draw wouldn't be like necessarily a bad result for us, but it's just obviously,
Yeah.
as I think you said a bit earlier, yeah, it's this reason that I brought up. I think with what's happened in the last few years, I think you just wanna get a win against Madrid and get it done. And yeah, that's the thing. I was thinking as well, Paul. Obviously at Anfield, playing in Madrid is like it's probably one of the best games you can play under the lights at Anfield. We need Anfield rocking tomorrow, and I think with as Tosin said, we haven't seen Diaz play that much in the weekend. Obviously, after the international break, he's always being managed after flying back from South America. But tomorrow he should definitely start, and rock with the rock in Anfield with Diaz, Nunez, and Mo Salah up top. I just feel like it can be. It's I can't wait for the game. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully, as Tosin said, we're gonna get a massive win tomorrow. I'll take a one. I don't even care. Get Nunez to dive in the box in the 88th minute. Mo Salah to score the penalty. I'll just take it. I just want to see. I just want to
Dodgy
see.
penalty. Dodgy. Handball in the box. Oh, it's got to. I don't care. We win. That's all that matters.
Get those 15 points, yeah, and then obviously go to the weekend getting away for City and Anfield. um yeah. well um yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I just feel like it's maybe it's a bit of just a bit more pressure on FSG to kind of hurry it up a bit with the negotiations. I just feel like Mo loves the club and the fans way too much. I don't think he'll leave at the end of the season. You can have a conversation, obviously, if you think he's too old or anything like that, and you don't want him on a massive wage. I get it. Like I get why people make that argument, but for me, with how disciplined he is, he's like 32, but he just looks in his prime still. He just moves like a 27-year-old on the right wing, and it looks like even if he didn't necessarily have his best season in terms of performances, I just feel like Mo Salah just switches on for like 15 minutes in a game and gets us a brace and just wins the game for us. I think against Brighton we've seen it, against obviously against Southampton we've seen it again. It just feels like with all of these goals that Mo gets, for me, it would be a worry not to have him for the next season, possibly because, um, you know, where with what are you replacing those goals? Because Luis Diaz is not going to score four every time like he did against Leverkusen, so or like he'll do tomorrow against Madrid. Um, obviously, things things can really go that way. One interesting thing that I've seen, Tosin, that I want to ask you about, um, if you want to obviously elaborate on this, who knew? I'm going to use that as your name. Um, I've seen this in the chat with who knew thinking we should start with Gravenberg, Mack, and Jones tomorrow. I think this is mainly due to mainly has to do with control. I feel like obviously when you're playing Madrid, you're not you're probably gonna hold on to the ball a bit longer, because Ancelotti, when he plays this, he just drops back, lets us have the ball a bit more. And I feel with someone like Jones, you get a bit more control in that midfield, and maybe something that's gonna help you keep the ball, keep the pressure up. With Soboslai, obviously, the thing that he's really, really underrated for is his work rate. I feel like he's always running, always pressing. He's doing a lot. I do think, I don't know, I think I just prefer Jones for tomorrow. Now, that would be a bit, maybe it wouldn't be fair on Soboslai, who just had his best game of the season, as you just mentioned. But I feel like Jones just gives us a bit more control, and that's what I want for tomorrow. So, does that sit right with you, Tosin? Would you see Jones starting tomorrow?
I agree with you. It makes sense. That's why I mentioned that if he goes with the reason why I mentioned Dom is if he plays Modric because you need somebody to press Modric quickly, win the ball, and I think Dom is going to do that very well. But um, if you look at the way, just like you said, in terms of what Madrid will want to do, Carlo would want to draw you into a transition game. So let it be a game of transitions. And in transitions, I don't think there's a better midfielder right now than Curtis Jones. Um, Good what in the turn, the way he's able to tread those passes, which he's added to his game, which I find a bit interesting now. And also his ball carrying skills. So I think for me, in terms of control, yes, he helps us in the middle of the park, but most importantly in transition moments as well. Because once Madrid have the ball, they want to go in transition quickly from defense to attack, maybe try and bypass the midfield. If they do that, that means we can win second balls. They don't have the physical presence of Jesulio anymore. So what they have now is they perhaps have to play with tomorrow maybe they have to introduce Hendrik to the lineup because Vinicius is now injured. So maybe they introduce Hendrik to the lineup, or whoever it is they introduce to the lineup tomorrow that comes in and joins Mbappe and Ada Guler in attack. Then, or maybe they play with Bellingham in the false nine role as some sort of a 9.5 or a 10.5, and then they play Goulet on the right, play Mbappe on the left, and then they have these three midfielders of Kamavinga. Chouameni is probably maybe going to start tomorrow. Who knows? But didn't play at the weekend as well because he was injured. So maybe they play with Ceballos, play with Kamavinga. They have issues at right back. Fede will play there at right back as well. So you know that extra midfielder that they have going to be very important in how we then say we want to take them on. That's why I said if he goes with a young and youthful midfield, then obviously Curtis will be a perfect fit for us in transition. When he takes the ball in the pocket of space, he's able to find Mo wide. He's able to find the underlapping fullback quickly. He's also able to play those high of the needle passes like he did for Luis Diaz against Leverkusen. I think this game, that's why I said, you know, it could be 4-0 or it could go the other way because I think it's going to be a bit like the Leverkusen game where we have two teams that are going to size themselves up in the first 45 minutes. Okay, this is how this is going to go. This is how this is going to go. And that's what I like about Slots. The difference between him and Jurgen. He's going to try and see that if we score beautiful, we're going to play well, but he's going to size the team up and see where he can hurt them in the second 45. And that's the reason why I see the rationale. Honestly speaking, it makes all the perfect sense to go with Curtis Jones, you know, as the third man in midfield. Everybody's agreed that it's Ryan and Maka, and we need an extra person there. One person that I'm watching out for in the long run is Avi Elliott. If he comes in and looks after guy he was last season, I think Curtis and Dom really, really, really have to start thinking hard about their place in the team. Maybe also it now also helps Salah a bit, and then we're able to give Salah a bit of time. And speaking of Salah, I don't care what anyone says. The man has a right to say what he has said. I think he's earned it. If you're if you're a legend of the football club like he is, and he's still playing at 32 the way he's playing, I mean, people should cut him some slack. And yes, that includes you, Jamie Carragher, Mister. I want to go to another club. That man, it looks like he belongs to the ops now. So I think that for me that's what it would be. Play Curtis then.
Fair enough. And yeah, well, the funny thing is that Madrid in the Champions League always have like three. They have like 15 men on the pitch. With, even after VAR has been introduced, but yeah, we're gonna wait and see. We're probably just gonna be too good tomorrow for them to even worry about that. The thing for me, yeah, and this is interesting. Like I can hear an argument where you'd want to see Diaz play up top because in a lot of moments, when you see him score, he rarely does like cut in from the wing anymore. He just finds himself in these positions, in between the center backs at times, in between the center back and the right back, let's say, of the opposing side. It looks like he's always finding himself in like some good space. He's just not necessarily, as it was under Klopp, where he would just dribble whatever, get inside and take a shot. It just looks like he just finds spaces very well in the box, and playing him up top could be a very good solution. With what we've seen against Leverkusen, I think was the perfect example. I think at times he was just like, when you look at him on the pitch, he looked like the number nine in that team. And for me, Diaz has been. I will shamefully say on stream that yes, in the summer I did think about it, and I did say that maybe Anthony Gordon over Diaz would be a move. I did say that. I'll have to hold my head up high and say that I was one of those people. But I think when you look at him, he's been amazing at left wing. He's been great at right wing as well at times last season, and up top now. He does look like an option. So for me, Diaz now is one of the guys that he just has to play in pretty much every game, apart from obviously being managed at times. Um, yeah, and with that in mind, let's take a bit of a look at the game at the weekend against City. Yeah, I can't wait. Tierney at VAR. That's Tierney. Whenever I see the name Tierney, I get anxious. But to be honest, that's pretty much my feeling with all of the English refs nowadays. But yeah, it was just a conspiracy with Coop. He was like fine, until he wasn't anymore, until we've seen the videos from the last few weeks, and it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? But we're not gonna get into that tonight, obviously. So, Tosin, we know Slot has said that he just plays the best team that he has available on pretty much every single fixture, and that's his thought, and that he doesn't necessarily think ahead. But on this occasion, you just have an eye out for Sunday, don't you? It looks like 8 points now, potentially could be 11. Sorry, I'm forgetting my words. We could be 11 ahead of City after Sunday's game. So you just have to think about it, don't you?
Yeah, of course you will think about it. I'll be honest. I thought about it the moment the final whistle went on Saturday. So we could be 11 points clear next week. I mean, that would be beautiful, wasn't it? Isn't it? And I think, in all sincerity, you got to start thinking about it. If you're in the football club, you're thinking about it. Let's not deceive ourselves. The guys are thinking about it. They're thinking, guys, we actually could be 11 points clear. I mean, it is possible. We could be 11 points clear. And but for now, I mean, just got to focus on Real Madrid tomorrow, get that over the line, and then you can focus on Sunday. I'll be honest with you. I hate the officiating team, not dislike, hate the officiating team because you cannot possibly find a worse band of brothers to give as officials for a Liverpool game than these guys. But you know, they're the ones that are going to officiate, so we're stuck with them for 90 minutes at the very least. Uh, I'd probably say that it's a bit fairer than than Michael Oliver, who saw a kung fu kick to the chest of Maka last season and simply said, "No, I'm not looking at it." And so I think, in all sincerity, um, I want to look at I want to look at Sunday, but I'll be honest. I'm so lasered in on tomorrow that I think if we can get something tomorrow, it puts us in a good stead in terms of confidence for Sunday. And here's the reason why: City is so obsessed with Sunday. People might not want to acknowledge it, but they're so obsessed with Sunday, they're making subtle tweaks to their lineup just because of that game. Kevin De Bruyne has not started for God knows when. He should have started on Saturday. He was rested. He should have started today. He was rested. I mean, it tells you just one thing. Despite the fact that they have absolutely nobody to play again in midfield, he's rested him again. So that means they're keeping an eye on Sunday. I I know the boys have their full focus on tomorrow, and that's the reason why I said screw the FA because look at what they did to us. Play Real Madrid and then play Man City within 3 days. I just think for me, in the grand scheme of things, when I think about it and then look at the fixtures we also have after, a bit complicated, but I don't want to get into that. But you just look at the fact that if we win tomorrow, it gives us a shot in the arm to go and kill Man City on Sunday. I don't care if City win today because I think they will, and what they need is a win. But we have the opportunity to say take another L, 4 straight losses, 11 points in the first week of December. That will take some catching. The last time that happened, we won the league in February. Uh, for those who don't want to accept, sorry, but we won the league in February, and then COVID happened, and we had to wait almost 4 months for our coronation. So I think for me, I'd just say the guys should laser in on tomorrow's game. Let's get a result tomorrow. If it's a draw, fine. If it's a win, fantastic. We just need a confidence booster that carries us into the City game, that makes us say, you know what, we're gonna give you hell, and we don't care if you've lost 3 straight, you're gonna lose the fourth.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much my thinking as well. When you look at it, we've discussed obviously City, judging by the past few seasons, City is always going to be the most difficult game in the league, probably. Um, but when you'd go, I feel like this is the best time, the best possible time to play against them. With them losing like what 5 in a row now, they're probably going to win tonight. I agree as well. Like I think it's difficult, let's say, to kind of lose with that value that they have in their set to lose against Feyenoord now, with the Feyenoord being with a new manager and all that as well. But I think for us, imagine getting on Sunday playing City at Anfield with a rocking Anfield behind you, being top of the Prem by 8 points, being top of the Champions League, just beating Real Madrid in the Champions League as well. It just it's the best possible scenario to get into that game, I feel like. And it obviously gets you, it's success breeds success. That's the saying, and I just feel like it applies very much as well in sport as well, because the levels in confidence are going to be a lot different. He's still an Evertonian. Does that mean that he'll just choke later on in the season like he
More or
did in the
less, more or less, they will choke tomorrow. That fluke win is still giving him that fluke 2-0 win that he won with Everton is still giving him a lot of joy. Tomorrow, they're gonna get that work.
Yeah, Tosin, to be honest, you did say we won the league in the league in February in that year. They also won the league in October in the season afterwards. So you gotta be careful. They were top of the table for like a month into the season, so you gotta give it to them as well. Yeah, it's interesting seeing Ancelotti's still an Evertonian. Well, of course, what else now after the 2005 final? What else are you gonna say? Let's give him more of that. Hopefully, score three in one half tomorrow, and then we'll see. We'll worry about it later on. With that in mind, I think we're just gonna end tonight's live stream. And yes, obviously, we are also going to have a chat, a stream later on in the even well at night actually, because the American lads will also stream. I think it's going to be 2 a.m. UK time if I recall.
Happy
That's going to be
Thanksgiving to them as well. Happy Thanksgiving to the American lads.
Happy Thanksgiving as well. Yes, indeed, they're gonna celebrate Thanksgiving on Thursday, I believe, on the 28th.
Yeah, Thursday and Friday.
So yeah, and
Please send
guess
some turkey. Send some turkey, guys. If you're watching the stream, send some turkey. I like mine grilled, so just send some turkey. If you need the address, text me. I'll send you the address.
that will work after we just slap Madrid tomorrow. That will work from with me as well ahead of the City game too. So once again, thank you Tosin for hopping on tonight. Thanks to everyone who chipped in. Thanks to Muse. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks if you obviously like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget 7:30 p.m. UK time pretty much every day. We are going to be streaming tomorrow as well. After the Madrid game, we're going to have a post-match reaction, and obviously don't forget that in a few hours, 6 I think, we're going to be streaming again with the American lads. So good night to you, Muse. Good night to everyone. See you tomorrow, and until then, up the Reds.